Aloha once again, and welcome back to the 7th Direction. My name is still David. We are still headed in our 7th direction. That means straight into us, according to Native American philosophy and many other philosophies around the world. It's a valuable direction to go in. Why? Because in that 7th direction we find tools that help us improve our lives and make things what we consider to be better for ourselves. Well, built into that is our definition of what is better. That is sometimes where things can go awry. You have to be very clear on what is truly your definition of better for you, all those around you, and the planet at large. And unfortunately, everyone has a different perspective on what that might be. So, for example, some things that a person might think are obvious are not necessarily so obvious. In Hawaii, I am attempting to open a school to help train local people in how to be programmers, because there are a lot of poor people around here, and I thought that might improve the situation a little bit. There are people here who actually think that that is not wise behavior, that because in the past, Hawaiians never needed money or computers or technology or really to interact with the Western world in any way, that they really don't need to do so now. And so therefore, I am almost contributing to the wrong side of things by encouraging Hawaiians to participate in the modern context of life. So the fact of the matter is, this is Hawaii, we have Pearl Harbor. It doesn't take any imagination to realize large defense contracts are issued out of Washington, D.C. that go to the departments over in Pearl Harbor that need lots of software, and because there are not a lot of skilled people here in Hawaii to take care of those needs, all that work, and therefore all that money, winds up flowing back to large defense company contractors that are based in Washington, D.C., Defense Department contractors that are based on the East Coast. So I just thought, well, if all that money is coming and going and the locals are not participating in it, then maybe I could help train some people in the skills that I have, and they could maybe take a little piece of that pie if they choose to. And I was actually instructed by someone that that was not proper behavior, because I was judging that those people, quote, needed, quote, to be improved. Hawaii is number one in the nation in homeless children per capita. It is number one in the nation in teen suicide. Those are measurable, statistical, mathematical facts. I didn't invent that situation. I'm not proud of that situation. What I say does nothing to improve or worsen that situation. Only my actions, which I hope will assist somehow in Hawaiians gaining self-esteem, will actually begin to address those issues. Well, again, complicated question, but one that directly applies to you. As I began, you have to decide what actually feeds your self-esteem. Does it feed your self-esteem to live as a hermit, to proselytize whatever your perspective is, or does it feed your self-esteem to have a nice point of view and a nice car and a nice house and be able to send your kids to college and whatever else it is that you can do with actual money? as you begin to explore your internal landscape, you will have debate raging within yourself as to how into the modern context you actually feel comfortable being. You will see lots of bad things being done with money and technology, and you can get very distraught over some of those things. All I would say is I suggest that you remember that before you came to this lifetime, you knew the context of life here. You knew there would be computers, you knew there would be money, you knew there would be electricity, you knew there would be guns, you knew there would be angry people, you knew there would be all kinds of things that you would look at around here and see as being very unattractive. And yet you took it upon yourself to make your best choices and live your best path. Okay, so maybe the entire purpose of you doing everything that you've done is to be able to help someone else. Maybe the homeless person that you see is there for you to be able to get involved, to think in some way, whether that is to actually reach into your pocket for $5, or to bring them into your house, or to simply have a larger picture for, I want to get involved in my community in a way in which I can create something sustainable. Those individual choices are up to you. To simply look at every situation in life and to assume that people are attracting to themselves, are creating their experience exactly as they would desire, well, technically that's true, because your soul always manifests for you, manufactures in your life exactly precisely what your soul desires that you have. But your soul is not as attached to the niceties of life as you are, and your soul is more than happy to make karmic experiences for you. And so if you continue to have experiences and you do not learn the proper thing from your experiences, then you will not go forward as a consciousness, and you will get stuck in your rut. And that will happen to you whether as a human you become senile, whether as a ghost you lock into some point of view, or whatever other consequence might befall you for locking so hard into a perspective that you were unable to learn anything else from what you saw in front of you. This is where it becomes a challenge, where people make judgments about what is and isn't basically spiritual or part of the universe. If the entire universe is spiritual, then so are we. If the entire universe is consciousness, then so are we. If it's a big ball of light, then so are we. So we just use the term spiritual to describe the nature of something that has power that we can't see. It's not just the wind. It's actually some form of entity that can do things, make choices, have some essence and continuing potency. So we use that word. To take the responsibility of being a, quote, spiritual person means to absorb all of the aspect of being a spiritual person. To understand that the process by which you evaluate things as being good or bad might have nothing to do with how your soul evaluates things. And you cannot look at money, government, technology, any of the things that we have created here on the planet as being inherently evil. They are as much a part of the essence of God created by us as anything like that we like, such as puppies or flowers. The things that are created in cyberspace that allow me to talk to you, that allow you to talk to your parents by cell phone, wherever they are in the world, those are as real as a blade of grass. The money generated from that stuff that can then go to buy people food or vaccines against diseases that are real. Those vaccines are real. The money is real. It's about the choices that we make with the power that we hold. The point of all of this is, if you're going to make the most out of yourself, if you're going to make the most out of your experience, you have to embrace the whole experience. You might not like all of it, and you are absolutely entitled to choose the parts of it that you think that are better or worse, and try to shift things around in the direction that you consider things to be better. But you cannot simply look at the universe that exists and go, this is a spiritual thing, it's positive. This is a non-spiritual thing, it's negative. No, the principles that you have are just as much a tool as this computer keyboard that sits in front of me right here. You can use your spiritual tools for any way that you like, just like people can write any kind of software that they like, and people can spend their money any way that they like. The responsibility for choosing light over darkness is yours at every moment, and that's the power that you want. In order to make that choice in the best way that you can, keep going in your seventh direction. Apply your principles, all of your principles. Know that love exists, so better exists. Don't judge the universe around you according to the past. Live in the context where you live now. Embrace everything as it is and turn those things for the better in the best way that you can. That applies to you, everything around you, and the planet. Now, the key thing that you want to remember through all of that, you may have to discard the tools that were so valuable to you yesterday. You cannot define what you need today by what you needed yesterday. That is what evolution is all about. Sometimes you have a tool that has carried you quite far, all the way to this point, but to go forward, to really be in your modern context of your own life, of the life around you, you have to leave that tool behind, open yourself to new tools, new directions, new possibilities, and see yourself in a new way. You can do it all, going in the seventh direction. Keep going, it's worth it. We'll talk again soon. Aloha.